Our first sponsor for the podcast is Inverted Gear. Inverted Gear sells jiu-jitsu equipment. They sell gis, rash guards, shorts, all that cool stuff. They're really cool people, really great customer service. They have a cool blog. Check it out. Go to invertedgear.com. Type in the coupon code ShowTheArt15, no spaces. You'll get 15% off, and you will enjoy what you get. Our next sponsor is Chimera Coffee. Chimera Coffee is coffee from Dominican Republic infused with nootropics. If you don't know what nootropics are, they're things that help your brain run a little quicker, fire the synapses a little faster, help you remember words better. Just Google it. Trust me, you won't go wrong. It's a great tasting coffee, and you'll love it. Go to their website, chimeracoffee.com with a K, not .com with a K, coffee with a K, and type in the coupon code ShowTheArt, no spaces, and you will get 10% off. Boom. On today's episode, we have Stephen Wonderboy Thompson,
soon to be UFC champion.
He's fighting Rory McDonald July 18th.
This guy is a master of range, distance, kicking, just killing.
And he gave us so many tips, and just he broke down some of his game, and you guys would get a huge kick out of it.
No pun intended.
So we hope you enjoy this episode, and if you do, on iTunes and Stitcher and whatever, rate and review. Give us 5 stars, write a good review. It goes a long way.
Check out showtheart.com for Show the Art attire. We got, well, we're about to have
hoodies.
Shirts. We got hoodies, patches. Rep the art that you do on the daily basis.
What's up, guys?
Hey, brother, what's going on?
What's up?
Doing all right, man.
How are you, sir?
Doing good, my friend. Doing good. How about yourself?
Good.
Excellent. Quick question. Is it Steven or Stefan?
It's Steven. Steven. It's okay. Everybody says that. They call me Stefan, or they call me Steve, or it don't matter. My family calls me Wonderboy, so.
Oh, man. Listen, man, we're really appreciative for you coming on.
Dude, our brand...
Hey, man, no problem. I'm just glad to be on, my friend.
Our brand is called Show the Art, and you are the epitome of artistry.
Holy smokes.
That's why we needed to converse with you.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. That definitely puts a smile on my face.
Listen, man, your last fight.
Dude, listen, you tactically decimated Johnny Hendricks. What is up? Why did you do that?
Man, you know what? To be honest with you, I drilled more than I sparred for that camp. I mean, if you've seen Johnny Hendricks fight once, you've seen him fight, 100 times. He hasn't actually made any changes,
right?
To his game. So what we did was we knew he was going to throw the big left hand, try and pressure me to the cage, try and take me down for a double leg, and so we pretty much did the game plan. So I just had my partners, my sparring partners back home.
Mm-hmm.
Just throwing the big left hand and just countering it and working my takedown defense. And we didn't do as much sparring, and man, it really paid off during the fight. Not to take anything away from Johnny,
mm-hmm.
but after the fight, I was just like, man, that was easy,
That means you did your job right.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
The day I got back home, of course, my dad was watching it. We had, recorded it, and even though I won the fight, he's still just picking me apart, doing things. Hey, man, you're doing this. You should have done that. You didn't turn your body, and you should have never even got close to taking you down. So,
Oof,
but
wow.
That's what it takes about evolving and getting better. So
that's right, man. And your movement was a key to winning the fight. Did you think your movement would play a huge part?
Oh yeah, a big part in the fight, and I like it just with my karate background, the movement, the switching the sides, the in and out movement. It's very frustrating, and I knew that was going to play a big part. If I can get Johnny Hendricks frustrated, I got him. And right off the bat, of course, when you got me to the cage, that's kind of the part where everybody kind of held their breath.
I did,
but once I expected him to actually go for a double leg, kind of like what he did against Robbie Lawler, but he actually hit me with a knee tap.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't expect that, but I just stayed calm, got back up to my feet, and as soon as I got free, I knew I could see him in his eyes that I had him. Because once I started moving around, I hit him with that side kick to the body, and then I faked it and hit him in the head with a round kick. When he dropped his hands, he dropped his hands. I was like, I got him. It's over. I just knew it.
Did you target shot that liver shot? Like you were aiming for the liver with that first side kick?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's definitely, especially with his right foot in front. That's what I'm aiming for. Boom, right to the body. My brother actually throws it to the face because he's like 6'4", but even to the face, man, it's a killer kick, and not a whole lot of people are using. I mean, you're starting to see it more and more in MMA now, which is great because it's showing that I know. Tell me about it, and it shows that the game's evolving, and it's awesome. Love that kick.
Steven, we had John Wayne Parr on our last episode, and I asked him the same question. When your whole game, when you're in a fight, right, do you have a bunch of schemes, a bunch of sequences, and that's just your rotation during the fight, or is it all on the fly?
To be honest with you, when you can do all the drilling and all the kicking, the punching, the game planning before the fight, but once you go out there, it's based on feel. Okay. On how you feel when you're out there, because you never know. They could have evolved their game. They could have developed a new technique or maybe a new takedown. When you have in your head exactly what you want to do, and now it doesn't go the way you want all the time. I mean, my last fight it went perfectly. When I fought Jake Ellenberger, it was more of like a how I feel. Okay. And my dad, when I ever go back to the corner, my dad he doesn't even coach me. Wow. Because he knows it's a feel thing out there. Sometimes he may say something like, "Throw a side kick, do this," but I may not do it just because it doesn't feel right at the moment. Okay. And you're like, so it's a feel thing.
And you're like, "I got this, Dad. Just fall back.
Right.
Let me take care of my business."
Well, actually, during the Ellenberger fight, I heard him say "spin," and I knew exactly what to do. And that's the best. Sometimes you go out there and you just listen to your coach. You don't have to think. You just do what he says, and it works. And I didn't hit him once, but I hit him with it twice. So, you also got to listen to your coach, too, even though they're yelling stuff at you, and sometimes it doesn't feel right. You still got to listen. But,
right. When your opponents are pursuing you, you angle off, you launch an intercepting fist. Is it a range detection thing? They're stepping into your circumference, and you just know that fine line, and then you just launch a kill shot.
Exactly. I mean, everybody has kind of like you said, like a security boundary, like a bubble around them per se. Okay, so whenever you get close to that bubble, everybody feels on the defense. They bring their hands up, but if you stay outside and away from that bubble, they feel a little bit more relaxed, and so that their hands start to drop a little bit. And if you're able to keep that distance, they start leaning in with their punches just a little bit, more than they normally would. And once they start leaning over their body or their front foot, they leave themselves open. Sure. If you watch my last fight, when Johnny Hendricks threw that big left hand, I stepped to the right and I actually caught his hand with my left hand, and I kind of pulled myself into it with my right, and I smoked it with the right hand. So it's like you said, it's all based on distance management. Yeah. And the way the game is going now, you watch Conor McGregor, you watch Gunnar Nelson. Lyoto Machida is very good at it. The guys kind of with a karate style. They have that distance management down pat, and it's going that way. I mean, it's not based on of course, you got to have the kicks and the punches and the takedowns and the jiu-jitsu. But the guys who are understanding that distance management, man, they're killing it right now.
That and would you say that's the highest level? That distance management and timing?
I think so. I mean, I don't know if it would be the highest, but I think the distance management and the feel aspect of the game, of the fight, being able to feel what works and what doesn't while you're out there, and being able to adapt to an opponent, especially on the fly, whenever they make that change, and you see that they make that change back in the gym, and you have to adapt to it. Okay. That's one of the reasons why I kind of go everywhere and I spar with different people
to get that feel.
To get that feel, and just to go out there and spar with as many people as possible, so you're familiar with pretty much all the styles. When you step out there in the cage with an opponent, all right, I'm used to this. I've fought somebody who's fought this way before, so I know how to cope with it. Yeah, know how to handle it.
And when you're sparring with these guys, what's the intensity relatively? It's not 100%. It's probably not 80%. Is it like 30, 40% for feel and movement, or does it differ?
We have different sparring sessions. So we'll have like technique sparring where one day we'll just pick one technique, and that's the only technique we're allowed to throw in that sparring session. It could be a jab. The next round, it could be a round kick. So it really develops the technique and gets you used to it. And in our gym, we have to switch sides. Mr. T, my pops, our coach, makes us switch sides. Some days are just MMA gloves, and we're just going over drilling. Just distance management. The guy moves forward, I have to keep him in range. I got to back up. He backs up, I got to move forward, keep him in range.
Yeah.
And then closer to, about 6 weeks out, that's when we start to kind of pick the pace up a little bit in our sparring. It's never really 100%. That's, I've been to gyms where you go out there and guys are really trying to kill you, man. They're trying to just take your head off, and that's not safe, especially if you want to have a long career in this, in this job. So you gotta play it smart, man. I wear 18-ounce gloves and I wear headgear.
Wow.
Yeah, I was gonna say, one of the common traits for all the best MMA fighters is range and distance management, like you're saying. Anderson Silva, he's classic. He's a classic example of managing the range and countering when necessary. John Jones, another guy that's like a master of the range. So it's not surprising when someone like you becomes so successful. Like you're just so good at moving in and out and keeping them where you want them to be at the right distance, and then not accepting their forward momentum and you meeting them when you feel ready. Is that something that goes through your mind? Like, if he comes forward, I'm not engaging until I'm ready to go forward.
Exactly. And what I like to do, I like to move around, use my movement, because when I move around, they tend to follow me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They follow me, and when I get them to follow me, that's when I plant my feet and I drive in with the right hand or drive in with a kick, and they run into it, which makes it that much more powerful. So I'll back up. They're chasing me, then I sit, boom, and I fire off the technique. Then I'm off again. Then I'm circling again.
And you're propelling.
So explosive movement.
And you're propelling off that back foot. Like, you're just shooting off that back foot as hard as you can.
Exactly. That's what if you go back and watch the Andrews fight, I do that a few times with my roundhouse kick.
Mm-hmm.
Back up, boom, and I just slam. I didn't care where I threw it. I know if I threw it as hard as I can. It's like taking a baseball bat and swing as hard as you can. If I hit you in the pinky with it, it's going to hurt. So I just swing it. I try to aim for the arms, because if I can draw those arms, if I can, let you feel the power just a little bit, it's scary. It makes you want to back up some.
Oh,
yeah. I was a fan of you from the Chris Clements fight. So when you fought Robert Whitaker, I was a little worried, man. He's got great stand up. You handled him.
Yeah.
You handled him. But I was going to ask you, how did you feel? Did you watch his last fight, and how do you feel about his performance? Do you think he's evolved? Do you think it would be another good fight for you if he makes it to where you are in the rankings?
As of right now, I think he's doing a fabulous job in the 185 division. With him, I don't think his style has changed a whole lot. I just think in the 185 division, he's a lot faster than the guys at that higher weight.
Yeah.
So he's able to land and cover the distance very fast. The way he handled Uriah Hall was phenomenal.
Oof.
He was just so explosive and so fast. Uriah Hall just didn't know what to do. Uriah Hall is an explosive and fast guy as well, but he couldn't keep up with him.
What do you think of Uriah Hall's style?
I like it. He does have a karate background. Mm-hmm. It's just whenever he fights, you don't know which Uriah Hall shows up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you have, sometimes he gets out there and just destroys a guy, and then he goes out there sometimes, and it's almost like he's waiting, or he's afraid to
engage.
To engage, and he just lets the guy just take over. They get that momentum, and they just kind of what he did with Robert Whitaker, I think.
How do you think the fight will play out with Uriah versus Anderson Silva? Because that could be an explosive fight. Like you said, both guys in the last couple of fights have been known to kind of be a little hesitant to engage.
Right. I think it could go either way. It could be a very exciting fight, or it could be a very boring fight, because both guys are counter strikers. Mm-hmm. The person that's going to be the most aggressive, obviously, is going to win, but is able to keep the pace. Yeah. If you watch Anderson Silva fight Chris Weidman just kept in his face, stayed in his face the whole time, and he landed a bunch of strikes. Same thing with Robert Whitaker and Uriah Hall. Robert Whitaker was just on him from the very beginning. Uh-huh. The person who's going to go out there and set the pace is going to get the momentum to be able to go on to just to take over in the rounds. It just depends on who's there that night.
Okay.
Man, it's hard when you get the guys like that at that high level. It's very difficult to pick somebody, but I'm hoping for an exciting fight. Man,
yeah,
to be honest with you.
Yeah, you're right. Like sometimes two counter strikers, they're sitting there waiting around to counter strike, and if both guys are thinking the same thing, nobody's being the aggressor. I believe Anderson has the ability to be the aggressor, but I don't know if he does at this point of his career. Uriah Hall.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. What do you think? Uriah Hall has Ryan Hall. Do you think Uriah Hall has the ability to be the aggressor against Anderson?
So. I really do. I think so. And the person who's going to throw the feints. When it comes to a counter striker, you have to throw feints. You have to get them to react, and once they react, then you go.
Uh-huh.
Speaking of feints,
you know what I mean?
You are a master of deception. And a long time ago, my teacher, Armando Basuto, he had told me if you pair two equally skilled fighters, equal in attributes, equal in skill sets, that the master of the feint or the fake, the one who can deceive the best, is gonna win.
I agree with you 100%. Because in our gym, a lot of our guys are stand-up guys. Kickboxers, karate stylists, and some of our best fighters come from our karate program. So they like to counter strike as well. So in order to hit these, then you got some really high level counter strikers at our gym. So in order for me to actually go out there and dominate is to throw my feints. When I feint and I get them to react, even if it's just a flinch, right when I see them flinch, I explode in because they just sometimes they don't even flinch. They swing and they miss, and that's when you hit somebody.
Yeah.
Whenever you're always open, whenever you throw a kick or a punch, you could be the best striker in the world. If I throw a jab and I stick my jab out there and just leave it out there, if you look, I'm open to the body. I'm open to the head, to the left and to the right. So you're always open when you throw, and that's the time to attack.
Boom!
Wow,
damn.
That's a lesson for all you people out there trying to become Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Is there anybody you look up to, or you've been looking up to, coming up in professional MMA fighting? As far as MMA fighters, maybe some of the champions at the time, or some of whoever.
Man, you know what? I've been a fan of the UFC since the very first one. I actually went to UFC 2. I don't know if it was 2 or 3. It was in North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. It was where Gracie pulled out Chemo's ponytail. Do y'all remember that one?
Yeah, of course.
I don't know if y'all seen that one. Yep. I was actually there for that. I was like 12 years old.
Wow.
And my dad took me to that. It was awesome. And I told myself, you know what? I'm gonna be in the UFC one day. And to be honest with you, I'm blessed to be where I'm at right now. And but growing up, man, it was Chuck Liddell, and he was a striker. Comes from a Kempo background.
Yeah,
right,
monster.
And we both fought in the same kickboxing circles. The IKF tournaments, and so Chuck Liddell was like the man for me back in the day, and he still is, and he's still killing it. I think his job description in the UFC is like the ambassador of fun. That's what I heard.
Wow. Up until even his last couple of fights that he unfortunately got knocked out, but he was still great. He was still winning those fights, in my opinion. Like, he was doing really well.
Yeah, I agree, man. But some of the shots that he's taken and got knocked out with, once you take those kind of shots, your head's not the same anymore.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of happy he got out when he did.
Yeah.
If he would have kept going, I just think it would have just been bad for him.
Sure. Do you think there's a way that you can recover from those shots, like take a year and a half off? Like, do you think a long layoff like that would make a difference, or once your button is hit a couple times, that's it? Well,
I think you do. You do lose it there for a little bit, but I've seen guys take about like you said, like a year off and come back and, they get their chin back. But what happens in the game, you're just, we're fighters, man. We want to just go out there and just bang it out.
Yeah.
And fight, man. And some guys, they can't take that break off. They just want to go out there and do what they love to do. And that's how they end up losing it, man. They could be the best shape of their life, but once you mess that brain up, and it all has to do in training as well. In the gym, if you're sitting there taking a lot of punishment, a lot of guys lose their chin in the gym, not in the cage, not in the fight. Wow. I was talking with Forrest Griffin the other day. It was not too long ago, and he was like, he didn't lose his jaw in the cage. He lost it in training.
Yeah.
Back in the day, that's how it was, and you just went all out. And you wore MMA gloves. You wore the 4-ounce MMA gloves in sparring.
my
They just beat the crap
goodness.
out of each other.
Damn.
So
Yeah, it's because you're fighting. You might fight 3 rounds once every 3 months in a cage, but how many rounds are you sparring within those 3 months? A lot more rounds than 3, right? So it does make a lot of sense. How many rounds do you think you spar? So you never actually spar like more than 90%, right?
right. I mean, we'll go. I mean, if I go hard, it's with somebody a lot bigger than me. Like Chris Weidman, we gotta go. We have another 185er, my buddy Carl Reed, who's coming up in the ranks. My brother Tony, who's like 280. You know, I can hit those guys as hard as I can, and they're just like, smile at me.
Yeah.
So if I do go hard, just to get used to hitting somebody hard, I can go with them. But they're skillful enough to be able to, to roll with the punches or to move just half an inch back to lessen the blow. But I get the power. I developed the power in bag work and mitt work. So you drill. We do a lot of drilling. We go about 85%, maybe in sparring on some days. Some days it's like 35, 40%.
Okay.
Just working on skills, working drills. And that's how you got to do it, man. And you get more gyms doing that nowadays. And you're going to see guys, careers last a lot longer.
Right.
Is there anything you do specifically to develop accuracy?
Yeah, because you target lock specific areas, and then you cause massive destruction.
And we're asking all these questions because we want to go train tomorrow and implement them in our training.
What has helped me with accuracy the most is sparring with control. That means if I'm sparring with you, my goal is to throw my punch as fast and as hard as I can, but barely hit you with it. Okay? If I can control my technique, I can put it anywhere I want on the body. I can. I mean, if I can throw my jab or my roundhouse kick as hard and as fast as I can, then I can put it anywhere. We also do things called gross motor function, where we tie a ball, like we have a ball attached to a string, and the string is attached to something where it's hanging there. And I start in a fighting stance, and so let's say I'll throw a front kick.
Yeah.
My goal is to barely touch that front kick or that ball with my front kick, but I'll start in a fighting stance. And as soon as I start my front kick, it's as slow as possible. Every movement I make is very, 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 very slow. That means from the time I pick my back foot up, by the time I extend it all the way out and touch the ball, it's as slow as I can, which helps with balance and control, and it does help with accuracy as well.
Okay.
Mitt work as well. Doing a lot of mitt work, but not throwing it. When it comes to mitt work, I've seen so many, even professionals doing this. I've seen the guy holding the mitts is doing more work than the actual guy hitting the mitts. You know what I mean? They're moving, and the guy who's got the gloves on is barely moving their body. It's like the guy's,
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
It's like trying to slap the guy's hands, and it's ridiculous. I don't understand why they do it. What my dad does, he holds it about head level, but he also moves like say if I'm doing a jab, working the jab, he'll hold the jab in front of his face. He'll move it off to the left and move it to the right. Wherever I throw it, wherever he puts his hand, I've got to hit it right then.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be in the same spot.
Right, it's never in the same spot.
Okay.
But if I wait too long, he'll pull it back. I miss that opportunity to strike. It's just like my opponent dropping his hand for a split second.
And that
So
develops
he'll do
that
that with my kick
sensitivity
as well.
Nice, man. That's a jewel.
Yeah.
I was going to
Thanks,
ask you
man.
about pad work. It's funny, like every time I do pad work, it feels so natural to get into like a really tight, like boxing style stance. But I feel that I should be hitting pads like I spar, like the same kind of stance. Is that something you do?
Yeah, I mean, the way I do my mitts, I do it several ways. Of course, you have to learn to fight from the outside, and you have to learn to fight from the inside.
Okay.
So my dad will have me let's say we're doing 5-minute rounds, okay? The first 2 minutes or the first 2 rounds, it's all outside. So I'm constantly moving. I'm moving backwards. I'm moving forward. And my dad holding the mitts will back up. That means if he backs up, what do I have to do? I have to move forward. If he comes at me, if he starts walking forward, I've got to move backward and keeping him at range.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So that as well will help with your movement.
When you say range,
Yeah.
Is that are you one step away from hitting the target? Are you about 2.5 feet? Like you just out of
That
range?
all depends on Yeah, that all depends on the fighter. For me, if you were standing in front of me, my range will be a whole lot farther than what most people would think they're in range, because I can cover that gap very fast.
Jeez.
I've developed that. So what you got to do is, we have 5 methods of covering distance. We have the shuffle movement. We have the slide up movement. We have the extended step, which is where your back foot's standing still, but you move the front foot forward and move it back.
Okay.
Maybe with a jab. And then we have the pulling movement, which is it's actually a karate movement. It's like your technique's pulling you forward. If you watch the Clements fight in slow-mo, there's a few jab crosses or pulling right hands that I do where it's like my punch is pulling me forward. So the technique moves, so the hand moves, not my feet. So if you shuffle forward or if you walk forward, there's a telegraph there. So my opponent knows when I'm coming. But if I throw my technique first, as I'm moving forward, but people think, well, your feet aren't connected, you don't get any power. Well, the power comes from my body weight. Launching my body weight forward when I connect, it's my whole body behind that punch or kick. So, there's a lot of really cool stuff that that we. If you guys ever had a chance to come down here, man, you'd definitely have a place to stay.
Dude,
come do some training with us,
coming next week, baby.
I'm coming tonight, son. I'll be there tonight.
Machida, the way you talk about techniques and covering distance, I feel like Machida is like one of the only guys that is very similar to you.
But not.
Yes, we do. We do have some similarities when it comes to the explosiveness and the backing up and the covering distance.
You have that leading cross, that intercepting cross, similar.
Yeah. And he's explosive with that. He's just off of a dime, boom, he's just there.
Yeah.
We're different just because of the stance. He's more kind of a straightforward stance. I throw a little bit more different variety of kicks.
Yeah.
The lead leg kicks. He likes to throw the back leg roundhouse kicks and front kicks, but you don't really see side kicks from him or hook kicks from him.
True.
His style is very, very traditional.
Okay.
Right.
So I think that's where he kind of gets it from, and that's why he doesn't throw the. I came up from in Kempo karate, but also competed growing up in a lot of point tournaments. And if you ever watch point fighting, you need to watch those guys. They are the best at covering distance. Man, they're the fastest fighters out there, man.
Wow.
Fast, and you're starting to see guys really use that style, like Michael Page Venom. Michael Venom Page. Have you seen him in Bellator?
Yeah.
He's very fast. Raymond Daniels, who fought in Glory. I don't know if you've seen him fight.
Yes, Raymond Daniels he's excellent.
He's an amazing fighter, man. These guys are using that karate in MMA and even in Glory and kickboxing.
Mm-hmm.
Have you incorporated any other kickboxing elements of any other kickboxing styles, like maybe Savate,
Muay Thai?
I do study Muay Thai just for the knees. I mean, it's not my style to be able to throw the knees, to be able to understand the Muay Thai guy. If I ever, when I do face walk,
right,
I kind of know what their background is and what they like to throw. The switch kick, and which is a very powerful kick, but there's a huge telegraph there.
Yeah.
I had the actually privilege of training with Anderson Silva and Luis Machida at Black House before I even was in the UFC. I was looking for a management company. My brother-in-law, Carlos Machado, I don't know if you've heard the Machado brothers.
We've heard of
Hickson.
Oh, yeah.
Higgins and Jacques and
of course.
Roger and Carlos. Well,
Yeah.
Oh, man, they're unbelievable. Well, Higgin actually knows the guys from Black House, so I spent a week out there, did some sparring with him. And
Wow.
I got to spar with Anderson, and Anderson was freaking awesome. He would go from a karate style to a Muay Thai style, back to a karate style. I'm like, dang, come man, this guy's unbelievable.
Wow.
He wasn't very fast, but what makes him seem fast is there is no telegraph in his strikes.
Okay.
There is no telegraph. Whenever I started, wanted to compete seriously in kickboxing, my dad said, all right, if we're going to do this, we're going to start from the very beginning. And what he had me do was he had me stand in front of a bag, start in a dead still, like no moving at all, and he would just have me throw a jab. That could be a jab, it could be a round kick, it could be a right hand, it could be an uppercut.
Okay.
So I started off with a jab, and my front hand is standing out in front of me, and my jab has to leave right where it's at. There is anytime, I don't know if you ever sparred with somebody, maybe who's at a higher level than you, that it seemed like they knew what you were going to throw before you even threw it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Have you ever? I don't know if you guys ever had that experience.
We hate that.
Yeah, and it's because you're telegraphing at some point.
Right.
In your jab. Let's say I throw a jab. Some people they'll start moving around before the jab. They stop moving, and then they throw the jab.
Okay.
Well, when they stop moving, that's a telegraph. Or they're going to be moving around, and before they throw their jab, they drop their hand down a little bit before they jab. Or they chamber it up before they throw the jab.
Or they pull it back.
There should be none of that.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you start in the dead still, and it's just start in the dead still, boom, and you just throw it, right? And you do the right hand. And my dad's sitting there watching. And you guys can do this with each other if y'all train together.
Okay.
And just do that for an hour, man. Just sit there and do it. All right, I'll do 10, and then you do 10. We'll start off with the jab. Next thing you do, we'll throw a right hand. So the dead still just bang, just explodes. I'm telling you, people will be like, dang, how did you get so fast? And it's not because you're fast, it's because there's no telegraph.
Right.
That's a jewel. Now, Steven, I know we're running out of time, and before we go, I just wanted to get your thoughts on your next fight against another master of range.
I don't want to stop talking to Steven.
He's got to go, man.
No, he's not going
Well, man,
anywhere.
hey, I would love to get back on with you guys anytime. But yeah, go ahead. Yeah, ask away, my friend.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about your next fight against Rory McDonald, who I'm a fan of as well. He's masterful. What are your thoughts on that fight? As him as a fighter, all that mess.
Well, I've actually spent many years at the TriStar for with George. At the time, I was only doing kickboxing. I wasn't even training MMA at the time. So I was go up there. I was a sparring partner for George for a while, and I got to really know those guys: Rory, Faraz, Amy Zahabi, George, and we've just been really good buds. Never really actually sparred with Rory, but we've been in a few classes together.
Okay,
and just fighting on the same cards. We run into each other. So he's a good buddy, man. A great guy, and just being up there training with those guys. Those guys are very good strategists.
Right.
I think they've kind of gotten away from actually going out and trying to finish fights. They've kind of gotten to the point to where I'm going to win it. I'm going to wait maybe the last round, go for a takedown to try and win it. They may change it up for this camp. I don't know, but my man Rory, he loves to keep his left side forward. I don't think he switches a lot. He loves to throw the back leg roundhouse kick that he threw, and I think he's rocked Robbie Lawler with a few times his last fight.
Definitely.
And he's got a great jab.
Yeah.
Right.
So I know he's got a fast jab, but whenever he sits down on his combinations, he's got to be in range. But whenever he's in range, he kind of like slowly walks his way forward. So it's not a very explosive way of covering distance.
No.
But he kind of waits forward, and once he gets you kind of either close to the cage, or if you just stand there in front of him, then he'll tee off, and then right after his combination, he loves to shoot.
Yeah.
Kind of like unlike
that's classic
Hendrick.
TriStar.
Yeah, they shoot for that single or that double. You've seen George do it 100 times.
Yeah.
Very similar style, but he's trying new stuff. I know he is. He's actually got Michael Page. He hired him to kind of go out there and simulate me as well.
Okay.
But it's going to be awesome, man. Great. He's a great dude. He's a phenomenal fighter, which is why he's the number one contender.
Yeah.
So if I want to win that title, once you get up to that level, sometimes you got to fight friends.
Yeah, he's a slow stalker, and I thought one of his best performances was against Tyrone Woodley. Oh man, he just slowly stalked him and kept trapping him against the fence and used his reach so well. But I can see how someone like you can be an answer for his style, where your movement is going to get him to go in unwanted directions than he's used to.
Right. Yeah, man, that's the plan. I don't want to give up any secrets yet, but hopefully you guys are tuning in June 18th and
Ooh, definitely, man.
Check it out, man.
Wow.
Cool, man. Thank you so much. I know you got to run. We really appreciate it. If you have any sponsors or anybody you want to give shout-outs, please do so.
You know what? I just like to thank my management company, Paradigm Management. Upstate Karate Team Pitch Black is my hometown and our gym, and I just want to thank you guys for having me on, man. It was awesome. Definitely a pleasure.
Thanks, man. And remember, you said we can come over. We can stay
anytime,
over.
Anytime.
You'll
Just
train
shoot me a
us.
text and say, "We coming?"
Oh, shoot. All right.
Thank you, brother. We really appreciate it. Have a good night, man.
Thank you, my man.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a good one. Bye-bye.
Future champion. Take care.